There's nobody online yet. There's no one online yet. Okay. I'll just introduce for me. I'll just start from it. Yeah. Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. The session is starting now, and unfortunately, the chairperson won't be joining us immediately, so we just have to start with our first presenter. Okay, someone has joined us. Our first presenter is speaking on identity representation and embodiment in the dance and music of Oyo people, Nigeria, by Olatubosun Samuel Adekodbe, Obafemi Awolowo University. I don't know if he's online. Let me check. Okay. Olatubosun Samuel Adekodbe is not online. So I think we have to go with the second person. This is someone else. Okay. Olatubosun. Okay, yeah, he's around here. Okay. Who's the first one? Dr. Olatubosun Adekodbe. Good afternoon, sir. Yeah. I'm starting. Hello, Dr. Adekodbe. Good afternoon, sir. Please, can you hear us? Hello. The audio is not connecting. I think it's fine. Okay. I think we have to go to the second person, and the person will be speaking on representation of the Nigerian Civil War in Yoruba songs by Kozim Aliu, Nigeria Maritime University. Is he online? Kozim Aliu is not online. Okay, that one's is muted already. Sunday. Okay. Someone is committed already. He should open. Sunday.
Yeah, I'm here with you, and I think Dr. Adikogbe's audio is already connected. Yeah, but it's muted. Maybe.
Okay, Dr. Adekogbe, please can you unmute yourself, sir?
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. We can hear you.
Okay. Yeah, we can hear you. You have 15 minutes, sir.
To present. Is it me to present first or Sunday Adeni?
Dr. Adikogbe, I think you are the first presenter, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah, the first presenter.
Okay. Good afternoon. Can you hear me, please?
Yes, we can. Please, can you enlarge your screen?
Okay. Is it not visible?
But you can still enlarge it a bit. It's I don't know how you, yeah, it's, you can still learn it, sir.
Okay,
Yes, sir, you have 15 minutes, sir.
okay. Is the screen now showing very properly?
It should be. Yeah, it's okay. It's okay.
Okay. Good afternoon.
Good
I'm here now.
afternoon.
Like, yeah, can I go ahead? Can you hear me,
Yes,
please?
please, yes. Yes, yes.
Okay. Yes, I'm presenting on the, I mean, on your music as an embodiment of an identity of the Oyo people, of the Oyo music and dance. And who are the Oyo people? Oyo people is just, I mean, it's an ethnic group from the southwestern Nigeria, known for their rich cultural heritage and artistic tendencies that they have. As a matter of fact, Oyo is, I mean, is renowned for its position as the cradle of the Yoruba land, so as the historians actually postulated, and which nobody has actually disputed that. Can you hear me, please?
Yes, yes, yes.
It's okay. Now, now looking at the importance of dance and music as a culture among the Oyo people. Dance and music has been an integral part of culture of the Oyo people, not only of the southwestern, but Oyo people are seeing dance and music as one of their, one of their values that has been so much cherished over the years and over decades. And dance and of Oyo people include, there are different drums that they play. They play bata drum, they play the talking drum, they play the shakara. So looking at this embodiment, which focuses on how bodies and, how an active experiences, how we perceive ourselves and how we feel, who I am. Okay, that's part of representation. Then the theory of representation focuses on the description of a group or association. So looking at these three theories, their interconnectedness. If theory of identity focuses on the brain processes, which is psycho, more or less is psychological, giving us to the embodiment of who I am and who am I representing. So in this sense, the study employed ethnographic research, interviews, and participant observation to observe the activities of how music and dance has been an embodiment and representation of identity in Oyo town. Moving away from this, there are one of, like I said earlier, one of the fundamental instruments they use in Oyo town is the bata, the talking drum. As a matter of fact, talking drum is being produced in Oyo town. I've got some of my students here who have actually gone there on apprenticeship to learn how to play. And a colleague also and a friend also saying that he's also planning that. Anyway, that is just an addendum. So the music of Oyo town is peculiar to them, and anywhere they play that music, anywhere in the world, globally, it is being recognized as music that is coming from the Oyo people. They also have the Oro dance, which is also peculiar to the Oyo people. Not only that, the sakara music is also part of the Oyo people's music that they play. Sakara is also a traditional genre of music characterized by soulful melodies with poetic lyrics that are very, very lyrical and very fanciful with meaning. So, Oyo music and dance practices in the Oyo musical practices in present Oyo has identified them as people that actually play that particular kind of music and also dance that kind of music, which are attached to, which are actually, and enrich their cultural values, which include community and tradition and creativity of the Oyo people. So, looking at that from that side, what are the findings? I'm not going to waste, but what are the findings of this particular? What is this paper going to add to knowledge? You see, as an artist, I believe in the potential of significant contribution to musical studies. Many must have studied this particular aspect of Oyo people's music. But there is one aspect that I want us to know, that this particular identity representation in Oyo has contributed to the generation of understandings, not only for artistic practice, but also to knowledge and society in general. That is their contribution. Let me just put this. The research highlights the significance of dance and music in Oyo culture and their role in shaping the identity and embodying the cultural value of that particular town. Now, let me now quote from Rachel 2023 that says that now I am a dancer and everyone knows it, and that's how everyone else sees me, and therefore that is how I see myself, and that is applicable to Oyo people. Oyo people, they are musicians and dancers. Everybody know them for that, and that is what everyone. That's how everyone sees them, and therefore that is who they are. They serve as a representation of identity, an embodiment of values, an embodiment of musical practices, and also the creator of their own music. Thank you very much for listening. I think I'm through.
Okay. Thanks for the presentation, Dr. Adekolbe.
Thank you very much.
Yes, sir. So this is how we're going to do it. We are going to take all the presentations all at once, and after that, comments, questions, and recommendations can come in. So the next presenter is Qasim Aliu. Okay, he's not online yet. Okay, we'll just have to go straight to the next presenter, who is Tayo Odekunle from Adeyemi Federal University of Education. You'll be presenting on a semiotic analysis of women's images in satirical Yoruba songs. Tayo Odekunle, I don't know, Dr. Tayo Odekunle, if you are online, please.
I'm here.
Yeah, kindly unmute yourself. Okay, yeah. Okay. Dr. Dekodbe,
Yes.
please help us close your slides.
I want to see if I can share my screen, if it's possible. If it's not possible, I can present from my paper here.
Okay.
Dr. Adekolbe, please unshare your screen.
Hello.
Hi, Dr. Adekolbe, please help us close your slides or unshare your screen. Yeah. So you can share your screen.
Okay, if it's possible for me here, let me see. If it doesn't work, then okay, sorry. Let me see if I can. Okay, I think I can. Okay, it's saying it's not supported, so let me present from my paper here very quickly.
Yeah, 15 minutes. So
can I go ahead?
Yeah, 4:15 p.m.
Okay. All right. Good evening, everyone. The title of my presentation is A Semiotic Analysis of Women's Images in Satirical Yoruba Songs. This study particularly examines the representation of women in traditional festivals, with emphasis on how their images are being presented in satirical festivals, especially in Yoruba land. Satirical festival, as we all know, aims at correcting social ills and regulating the behaviors of members of the society. The elements of satire that we wish to look at in this paper, as they are used to present or depict the images of women, we can see the use of exaggeration, wit, humor, and what have you. I also want to make this point known that these satirical festivals, as we all know, constitute and further reinforce how women are portrayed in the society. So the focus of this paper is to identify and analyze the satirical features used to portray women in satirical songs rendered during this traditional festivals. I'm also going to discuss some implications for the images of women in the society. The scope of this study, briefly, I'm going to look at the use of satirical elements using a festival as a template, and that is the Aluku Festival of Okegbo people in southwestern Nigeria. Okegbo is in Ilelujo Okegbo local government area of Ondo State, and this festival is celebrated for 7 days. And women, we have seen that women are actually being part of the representation of what the society feels they should be. When you look at some of the songs, and over the last 2 years, because this research is actually part of my PhD research work at the Obafemi Awolowo University, in the past 2 years, I've been a participant observatory role. I've played that role in the festival in the last 2 years. My research method, briefly, it was gathered through oral interviews and active participant observation in the festival, like I said earlier. And these songs, bulk of these songs are rendered in Yoruba language. And so we have taken effort to translate them into English language. So many scholars have worked on festivals. We have Olupana, 1991, Ibitoku, 1993, Idom T, 2022, Omojola, 2009. And now my theoretical framework, I've chosen semiotics, like it has been reflected in the title of this presentation, a semiotic analysis of women's images, satirical songs. So semiotics, I want to look at the signs and symbols, the cultural signs and symbols that have been used in these songs to represent women. Okay, let me go into the brief data that I have there so that I won't waste time. The first data I would like to present. A pity I can't share my screen from this place. The first data that is here is, I will say it in Yoruba, then I will translate it into English. Bó wẹ̀ o gbọ́, ìwọ ìyàwó onílẹ̀kẹ̀ tó ń ṣẹ́yún lọ́sọ̀ọ̀sẹ̀, ṣé o ní dẹ́kun ìwà ìbàjẹ́ rẹ tàbí tó dàbí ẹni tí a dì? That is, if you like, take it. You, wife that wears beads, who aborts every week, won't you stop this back act of yours? You are like somebody under a spell. Of course, if you look at that song, exaggeration plays a prideful place there, because it's virtually impossible for a woman to, carry out abortion every week as if. So that's a use of exaggeration in that song. Then in this song, our attention is specifically drawn to promiscuous act of a married woman. Then we can see the second line of that song, the symbolic use of ìyàwó onílẹ̀kẹ̀, a wife that wears bring in Yoruba marriage rights. Beads play a significant role in the cultural heritage. And there's also the use of hyperbole in that song. The woman who wears beads is said to have been aborting pregnancies every week. That's the use of exaggeration, which is practically impossible, which in real sense is not possible. It takes a month for women to conceive. Then another song, before I conclude, I will render it in Yoruba, then I will translate to English. Yemisi Olobo Domitila. Yemisi, the owner of a vagina that of Domitila. Aya Ilabe, the wife of Ilabe. Ko sorare, be careful. Tomidoko kiribi itaja, you are having sex all around like a dog. One do otititi, they fuck you and fuck you. Want to feel until they expose you. Now, the above song also is addresses a specific character. Yemisi, then there's a metaphoric representation of Yemisi as the owner of a vagina that resembles that of Domitila. Then who is this Domitila that we are talking about? It's widely known to a novel titled Domitila, a Cinderella story from the slums, written by Faye Otuka and Adele Biwabdi. This novel tells us a story of a young woman who is promiscuous. Then the name Domitilla has continued to be used as an euphemism or slang to refer to women who are perceived to be engaging in casual or promiscuous sexual relationships for material gains. And so there's also the use of simile in that song, which is used to portray women. Tomido Krokiribi Taja, we all know the symbolic act of the sexual promiscuity of a dog. In conclusion, the lyrics of satirical songs rely heavily on direct and indirect comparisons of the women being satirized with living, non-living elements that are related to bad behavior that catches the attention of the performance. Also, if you look at Okebana Festival, AD Festival, some of these images of women are replicated in some of these songs. Then the satirical songs analyzed in this paper focused on the adulterous nature of some women. Of course, there are other characters of women that are portrayed in some of these songs, but time will not permit me to analyze some of them. So finally, this study reinforces our opinion that women are seen merely as tools for sex and sexual gratification of men. Thank you very much for listening.
Thank you, Dr. Odekunle, for the presentation. We'll be moving on to the next presenter, and I think he's here. Seun Okwade.
Okay.
He'll be presenting on. He'll be presenting on Yoruba popular music and social elite clubs in Yoruba land from 1940 to 2000. So, yeah, you come. No, come in. Let me give you the link.
Yeah, good afternoon, everybody. I want to present a paper on Yoruba popular music and social elite club in Yoruba land, 1940 to 2000. I have an outline here: introduction, Yoruba popular music as a genre, social elite club in historical perspective. Then I go straight to Yoruba popular music and social elite club in Yoruba land, 1940 to 2000. Then, by way of introduction, clubs, Yoruba clubs and associations have been part and parcel of the indigenous, the future of the indigenous Yoruba culture before the advent of the Europeans. And these clubs and associations have fundamental roles that they play in the in cultural renaissance and identity. They play integrative role in networking as a result of the fact that individuals that are part of that club are known to be unique and of high social standing. Before 1940, which is the beginning of the period of this paper, musicians of African origin have performed for different clubs and nightclubs, both in foreign soil and in Africa, particularly in Nigeria. Popular music is as valid as any other music, especially in terms of creative aspects. The music is by its nature popular and thus needed no additional competition. What is trying to say is that we are examining popular music within the context of the Yoruba indigenous music. And it is referred to, just as it's referred to in other culture, it is referred to as popular music because of its general acceptance and because of the value and the continuity that it brings to the culture of the people. Now, African popular music, therefore, is a socially responsive phenomenon. For now. African popular music, therefore, is a socially responsive phenomenon which absorbs cultural and transnational social musical influences as essential aspect of its growth, development, and sustenance. Imielu 2001. Now, this culture, this popular, these clubs are exclusive. The exclusive composition of this club revealed a nature in highly competitive, wealthy socialites with strong membership based on status and influence and opulence. And the music genre in this category include Sakara. The reason why I put everything together in this topic, of course, the work is still an ongoing work. The reason why I put everything together is because I'm actually looking at the historical trajectory of social elite club in Yoruba land. Searching literature, I've seen a piece of information that were mentioned by other people, but this work is actually, a trajectory of historical social elite club in Yoruba land. So this genre of music that are packed together to elicit this idea is the Sakara fell into that genre, Akwara music, Juju music, and maybe in the contemporary time, we can include a bit of Fuji. Now, why is this work important? The work is important because it is very, very essential for us to also canonize many aspects of our history, which this work is going to address. That's why I titled it Yoruba Popular Music, which include all indigenous music that I've mentioned and social elite club in Yoruba land between that period. Now, this work, as I said, there were clubs that Egbe Awoko, these musicians actually mentioned different clubs in those times. Those clubs play cultural roles. Those clubs, the membership it was based on importance, prestige. And Egbe Awoko is there. Oroki Social Club is there. Oroki Social Club, I'm going to illustrate popular music with Oroki Social Club when Aruna Shola actually sang for Oroki Social Club in 1973. And that made that Oroki Social Club to become an enviable club throughout Western Nigeria, where different clubs, even from Lagos, Ilorin, they were coming to understudy Oroki Social Club because a popular musician, a popular Aruna Shola, who belongs to this popular music that we're discussing, sang for them. Then there's also of the clubs, one of the powerful clubs that have started from before the 1960s is the Yoruba Tennis Club. Yoruba Tennis Club started in 1926. Initially, it was known as Orelodun Tennis Club before it metamorphosed into Yoruba Tennis Club. And this club, I want to talk about the structure. These clubs are highly competitive. The membership, highly competitive. They have membership and the structure and the membership is based on status, wealth, social standing, and this also includes an aspect of this work include what we call in history biographical genre. This work also covered aspect of biographical genre because we are going to be mentioning some highly influential people who actually play very, very important role in the the emergence of this club and their sustenance, the way the clubs the clubs became so powerful and people saw it as a privilege to be members of it. Of course, Lagos was the social center. I mean, where the activity, the entertainment happened during the period, and this, as I said, social status symbol. These clubs are status symbol where people compete to be member because it gives them a kind of status. Then cultural renaissance identity. These clubs are platform of identity, Yoruba culture, then social integration and networking through the coming together of wealthy people. They network in their clubhouse. They do a lot of transactions. They go from one place to another. Then I want to talk about their social responsibility. Of course, we know that these clubs, these social clubs, they have a structure to impact the society. They give different, they get involved in distribution of welfare material and relief material to different categories of people in different classes. They awarded scholarship and they do some philanthropic, they show philanthropic concern to many people. Example is Oriale Club in Lagos that offers scholarship to a number of students in 2016. And the club comprised of eminent people. For instance, this man was Professor Adeni Oshitobo. He was a former vice chancellor of University of Ife. There are a lot of eminent names that we can mention when we talk about this club. Now, when you see there's another eminent person who has been ascribed to be the one that actually created the Yoruba Tennis Club and Metropolitan Club and Island Club, Sir Adetokunbo Ademola, he was ascribed to be the one. Now, in my interview, as I said, the methodology I use in this work includes interview, newspaper reports, and then other secondary sources, and textual analysis of song that capture this social elite club, this social club. And one of the persons I interviewed is Chief Samuel Adedoyin, the one that is known as the Doyen of industry in Nigeria. He was able to give me some very succinct, he responded with some very critical information. And because of my time, now the second aspect of that, if this page said to be a member of Metropolitan Club then was very hard because of the requirements, but I don't know how hard it is today. That is the structure of membership. Because when you are a member of Metropolitan Club or Yoruba Tennis Club or any of those high standing club, it became a privilege. It became a thing that you are honored for being a member because it carries prestige and high social standing. Now, another individual that I can mention about a social club is Engineer Lekan Aina. Now, I don't want to bog us with names. That's why I say that this work includes biographical information, which is relevant. Now, in this aspect, KSA, King Sunny Ade, also canonized and mentioned some clubs that he sang for. This club invited these musicians to play for them. And of course, these musicians are also were enriched by the kind gesture of this club because it was a prestige for them to also call these popular musicians to play for them. It was recreational. It was something that boosts their ego. It was something they enjoy to do. So he also mentioned the Island Club. He mentioned the Ferudu Club. He mentioned Constant Star. He mentioned different clubs that has been spending for many of these So many of these musicians also acknowledge these clubs. Yes. What's time? 5 minutes. Okay. Now, many of these musicians sang for this club, and many of these musicians also acknowledge the kind gesture of these individuals who call them even privately to play for them, and their purses were enriched because of the generosity of the high-class people. So it became a symbiotic relationship between the popular, the musicians and the clubs which involve the social life. Those people that could express conspicuous consumption, that had fleet of industries and different people. Now, I want to talk about specifically talk about the connectivity of these clubs and the the clubs and the music. Now, when you see Oroki Social Club, Oroki Social Club uh, is a club up to today in Osogbo, and in 1973, Oroki Social Club was recorded by Aruna Shola. Aruna Shola's music belonged to the Apalajonri. Aruna Shola sang for Oroki Social Club, and according to the song, based on the biographical information in that song, I read some text, I saw their history, and the way the man started recounting information, giving information about the song to the public, the information he gave in that song and the text I read were accurate. And that shows to me that indigenous song, indigenous music, they are actually alternative source of knowledge. Now, there's no time for me to play this one. I will have played this one for us to see. It's an alternative song because popular music, those music and the club match. And it was recorded that after that song, after Aaron Sola sang that song and projected Oroki Social Club, Oroki Social Club became so famous that during that time, all the members of Oroki Social Club who vied for political posts won the election, even though Oroki Social Club is non-partisan. But because of the projection that Aaron Shola did through the song, Oroki Social Club, that appealed to the sentiment of the people. Oroki Social Club member who vied for political posts won their seats in 1973. So that shows that this trajectory, as I said, this trajectory, that historical trajectory of this social club, this eminent personality, is what something that should be properly placed on historical record. I have some other things here, like the quotation from the secretary of the club, what he said. Let me just read one. He said, "I'm very happy to tell you that some of us who contested the 1976 election used the name of Oroki Social Club to win. Those of us who did not contest or sponsor candidates for the election also got their candidates elected because of the goodwill which Oroki Social Club had won for us." That is the extent. Let me go to the conclusion, because I know that my time is, of course, the conclusion is there. This is what this work is trying to say. Establish a robust historical trajectory of significance of Yoruba popular music and social club from colonial period to date. And this study underscored the multivarious role of Yoruba popular music in shaping the cultural, socio-economic, and political fabric of Yoruba land. Now, these social clubs their role, the role is more than just partying or attending members' function. They had a lot of responsibility that I've mentioned before. Then the Oroki Social Club connects with, based on Aruna Shola's song, as I've earlier mentioned, there were a kind of nexus between the two. Then, through a detailed analysis, it's evident that Yoruba popular music serves not only as a form of entertainment, but also as a critical medium for social cohesion, cultural expression, and political commentary among the elite. And that's why I said that beyond the song, the information embedded in the song are an ancillary source for historical reconstruction, because this information were actually some sort of the information is sort of alternative source of knowledge. There are information that could be elicited from this song, even when you have not even read anything about it. There are clear information that could be derived from this. So significant social and economic responsibility, importance of social cultural value and heritage. This, in conclusion, this social club also function as contribute to our value and historical heritage in Yoruba land. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your presentation, sir. Yeah, moving on to the last presenter, who is Sunday Ukwawen. He'll be presenting on Towards Identity Creation, the interaction of musical tones, poetic tones, and the poetic of dundun drumming in Ayobankole's Iya. So you have the floor, sir. Mr. Sunday. You're welcome.
I want to share my screen. Okay. Sorry, I was able to share this sound. So, okay. All right. Thank you very much. And I hope you can all see my slide.
Yes, we can.
Great. Yeah. So I want to thank everyone who is attending this session, and also LSA, who has given me the opportunity to present my work at this conference. My work is actually it's a specialist work. It's basically on music theory, and I know I don't have specialist audience. I'm thinking anyway, but I will try my best to reduce the jargons so that we can understand what I'm talking about. But of course, I want us to participate. Wow. All right. So my work is a response to two different conversations within the music scholarship, one within Africa and the other one within the global scholarship, global music scholarship. Okay, so the first one, it's about how do we create identity in music? It's a question that we've been battling with in African music scholarship, and there are different sides to it. Some have argued that why do we have to think about creating identity? Why don't we just compose music and enjoy it? But the composers themselves have been struggling. And why? Because the African audience have been demanding for culture-specific music they can relate with, music that, expresses their experience, and the scholars, in thinking about all these things, they've been relating it with popular music like Afrobeat, like traditional popular music like Akbala and all that. For instance, he really was trying to do that, and in his way, he said, "No, in his own thinking, African art music is not possible." And African art music, it's an African version of Western classical music. Those of us who know Hallelujah Chorus, that's a Western classical music. I think it's very popular and we should be able to relate with it. I think so. So the African version.
So he's saying that the way composers do their compositions, what they do, it's not different from what the Western, the Western composer does. So and but composers they were not relenting and keep forging ahead. But recently there was another conversation that language is serving is serving as a kind of pivotal, like trying in a way the composers are trying to domicile in their quest to domicile their music within their culture. They then engage the language, through the lens of language. Agau talked about it, and then Uber specifically talked about it and recommended that we should look at language, that through language we can, through especially our cultural language, and he used Yoruba language as an example. And he, in analyzing his music, said language, in our language there is a kind of signification in our language in trying to make meaning of whatever thing we are doing. So he uses music. But in my own case here, I'm talking about beyond language. I'm also talking about what the composers are actually doing in terms of engaging the poetic of Yoruba language. That's what I'm trying to think about. That's my response to the African music scholarship on African art music. And the one about global scholarship, there's a question, it's still ongoing, that can music mean more than itself? Or should music mean what? Should we even care about music meaning more than itself? That's a kind of question that why can't we just listen to music and then don't bother about making meaning out of it? Just enjoy the music and go on, So, but it's quite difficult for us Africans to just listen to music without making meaning out of it. So because we always want to make meaning of many things, and these things affect this genre. And because many times we often think about extra musical and how composers infuse that into their compositions. And so that's another question I want to point out in the composition by Ayabankole. Yeah. So first of all, I try to define what I mean by identity creation or identity construction. So Simon Fritz, in his seminar paper titled Music and Identity, or Identity and Music, define identity, and his basis was, he was trying to differentiate between identification and identity, and saying that when you talk about identity, you talk about experience of people. For instance, he said identifying with something doesn't make you, it doesn't mean you are from that. Identifying with a culture by way of dressing or by way of speaking the language doesn't make you a member of the culture. All right. So, but what he's saying is that when you're talking about your experiences, does the culture represent your experience? So it's quite a very fun, interesting argument. I recommend that we read it. So from that, I divine just not to bore because I want to do the analysis and I want to make sure we understand it very well. The identity creation or construction in music is a process of documenting the composer's experience of their culture. That's my definition. And then my argument is that the poetic form that Bankole used in the year, it's not just an aesthetic choice, but a deliberate strategy towards creating an identity. And I said by using the poetic form, it reflects the Yoruba, by using a poetic form that reflects Yoruba language and cultural concept of motherhood. Bankole is actively constructing a unique cultural identity within its musical composition. This form, in turn, shapes the musical elements, creating a recognizable African Yoruba tonal ambience. All right, so in my methodology, in trying to analyze the music, I first of all deal with the text, the poetic text. So I employed the service of two, a male and female, Yoruba or your speaker. And so I asked them to read the poetic text while I record. But before they read, I first of all ask them to, reflect on the text. Before I record, I ask them to reflect on the text and, because Bankole was talking about his experience with his mother. So I wanted them to also position themselves where, like Bankole did. So, and they reflected on it. So while they were reading it, it was an emotional moment for each of them. And, so even though Yoruba tones is of 3 level, I'm going to show us later, there was a kind of shifting level that what some people call modulation in tonality. So there was kind of shifting level, which was as a result of the emotional moment when they were reading it, and because they have already reflected on it. So I noted that and then went on. Oh, sorry. I adopted Lotman. Lotman, sorry, I didn't put it here there, but I'll show you at the references. So Lotman talks about poetry analysis. So I adopt that to analyze the reading and then the tonality of the text. So, and I then analyze the interactions between the poetic tones and the musical tones. Also, the the interaction between the musical tones and the poetic of the Yaludundu and song. So first of all, I want us to listen to the song. Just the first section. Right here.
Yes, you can.
Okay.
Ìyá lolùfẹ́ jùlọ ní kékeré. Ìyá nígbà tí mo sùn òun ló ṣọ́ mi, nígbà tí mo jí òun ló gbé mi, nígbà tẹ́bí ń pa mí òun ló bọ́ mi, òun ló bọ́ mi, òun ló bọ́ mi.
All right, so I would like to move on. Oh, sorry. Okay. All right, so this is the text. You see the original and then the translation beside it. So the text, I put the tone marks. I apply the tone marks on the text. Ìyá 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 lolùfẹ́ jùlọ ní kékeré. Ìyá nígbà tí mo sùn òun ló ṣọ́ mi, nígbà tí mo jí òun ló gbé mi, nígbà tí ebi ń pa mí òun ló bọ́ mi, òun ló bọ́ mi, òun ló bọ́ mi. All right, so and then this is the try to get the musicality of the text. The same thing. This is not different from the tone marks on the text here. What I just did is to put it in lines and spaces on the lines, 3 lines that represent the first line is do, the middle is re, and the bottom is do, middle re, and the top is mi. That's the way it is. So it's just the same thing, do mi, do mi, do mi, do, and so on. So I was trying to get the shape of the tone marks on the lines, then so to be able to compare it with it. So, and this came about from I got this from Lotman and Liu Lotman. And because I'm dealing with music, I want to relate it, the poetry meter to music, how it relates to music, to understand what kind of metric foot Bankole was thinking about. So then I came about this, I realized that Bankole was thinking about both I am and tribrach, which is very particular to Yoruba traditional music. All right, then I talk the interaction between the musical tones, the text tone and the musical tone. So I try to look at the look at the shape of the musical tone, even though they are, like I said earlier, that when they were reading the text, there was shifting level, but I try to maintain is 3 levels, do, re, mi, 3 levels without observing the modulation, for the sake of this presentation. And so if you look at the shape of the tone text tones, you look at the shape of the musical tone, you see that they are very similar. They are very similar, even though they differ maybe in interval, but they are very similar in terms of shape. So, which means that what I deduce here is that the text tone determines the musical tones. That's one thing I found here, that the text tone determines the musical tone. So it was so easy. And we will see that later in Bankole's comment. So now I want to talk about the poetic of Yalu Dundu. Not that Bankole encouraged us to play the Yalu Dundu. This is Yalu Dundu family. It's not encouraging us, but he adapted the pattern from the Yalu Dundu into the music. I'm going to show us that in the next slide. All right, so we'll see the lower level staff is the right hand of the piece. I'm going to show us that later. But if you look at the way I did, you see the Ishaju and the Atelier. The Ishaju here, let me show you in the picture. You have the Ishaju at the utmost right, and then following it, you have the Atelier. So the Ishaju and Atelier in the Yalu.
Please, sir, you have 2 minutes left.
How many minutes?
2 minutes.
2 minutes.
Yes, thank you.
All right, so like this was showing, this is showing the interaction, how Yalu and Atelier is incorporated into the drum, into the right hand of the piano accompaniment of the music. So here I try to show how Bankole weave it together by, using the scale, do, la, so, mi, re, do, la, so. So, and the scale, use that and then weave it with the Shaju and Atelier. No, because of my time, let me quickly read this. In this song, I attempted to achieve truly logogenic melodies without landing in the square box that typifies such folk-type melodies, and to fuse them with meaningful harmonic progressions in the European classical medium. To my delight, it was not only possible to achieve these syntheses, but to experiment with newer sounds which do not at least interrupt the logogenic flow of the melodic line. So the logogenic flow of the melodic line simply means that it doesn't, distort the flow of the text, melodic line that is determined from the text, that is generated from the text tone. All right. So, and another thing that I will also talk about very quickly is that it enhances the modal quality of the melody too, and also elicits a kind of African tonal ambience, or Yoruba tonal ambience, as this case is. Yeah, summary of the findings. The study's findings indicated that the song's poetic style served as the main source of inspiration for the music. The use of poetic representation of the Yalu Dundun drumming in their accompaniment served to reinforce an African tonal atmosphere and the Yoruba concept of motherhood. The Dundun family represents, Dundun represent family, and the Yalu there represent the mother. So it's bringing the concept into its music without necessarily using the Dundun drums in the performance of the music. All right, conclusion, the use of poetic style based on an African language was found to be a significant step toward giving Nigerian art music or Yoruba art music a true African identity. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Sunday Ukwawen. So the floor is open to anyone who has questions, suggestions, and okay. Okay. Thank you very much. Okay, I think I was able to listen to two of the presentations and they were very interesting. I want to talk about the clubs. As a young girl, my parents used to listen to, those musicians in the class of Aruna Ishola. And as you were making your presentation, I could remember the lyrics, Oroki Social Clubs, Club, and I just wished you were able to. I don't know whether you played any of them before I came, but I just wished you had, created, no matter even if it was just 30 seconds, so that people could actually relate to the lyrics of, some of the songs. I think it makes a lot of sense. And um apart from those clubs, you could actually see, even decades after, even health issues and some of the other issues that those indigenous songs addressed, they are still relevant. And there are times that um, government, civil society, or the media dig into the archives to actually help them to address current realities. So, for instance, the current cholera outbreak in Lagos State. I don't know whether it's just in Lagos or in Nigeria now. There's a song. There's one of these very old songs that was brought. Was it Barista or something? He sang about cholera then, and I think I saw it in the media where somebody actually played that song. That was Obe, yes. So sorry, I wasn't sure of the name, but I know I saw the post where they went into the archives, brought the song, and then they are playing it now when we have a cholera outbreak to pass the same message. And it's kind of very unique. So they are able to now, so they could actually access different different issues and then different categories of audience. So the elderly people could still very well relate. Whereas, because if they had if they had played, developed a new message, it might resonate with some people and not others. But what they brought, Obey song could resonate with the traders, it could resonate with the high class, the elderly, and the middle aged people like myself who remembered listening to those songs while my parents listened to it, and we still find them very enjoyable. Thank you for your presentation. So the chair is here. It's online. Okay. Lisa, can you unmute yourself? Okay.
Hello, everyone.
Hello, everyone.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I joined the panel late. I travel. I was on transit, but I think I was able to listen to the last two um, presentations, and I want to appreciate everyone who who had presented, and thank you, LSA host, for standing in gap. Thank you so much. I think she has asked a particular question. Can we respond to that? And then I take it from there.
What was the question related to? Okay, it was a comment, sir.
Oh, okay. It was a comment.
Yes.
Oh, okay. All right. Then, do we have any question? Do we have any question to?
Yes,
Okay,
sir.
I can see a hand up. Okay, please, can you go ahead?
Good evening, everyone. My name is Taiwo Okoyemi Akinduti. I wish to say well done to every presenter on this panel. My question goes to Dr. Tayo Odekunle. When I saw the title of his presentation, I was expecting that he was going to say something that would be so new, so different from what has been done, because there is no question about the fact that scholarly works are banned on satirical Yoruba songs. People have worked on it so much. So I'll just like to advise that, though he said this is a fallout from his PhD thesis, if I'm not making a mistake. So I wish to advise that he goes back to the field and make more research. This work needs to be done in a way that will bring out something quite different, something new. What is this work contribution to knowledge? We need to know.
Hello, ma. Please, the network is bad from my end here. Please, I want to get that question very well, please, for the option time, please.
Okay.
I would like to get that question.
Okay.
All right, doctor. What
yes,
I say briefly is that when I saw the topic, the title of your presentation, I was expecting that you were going to tell us something new about Yoruba satirical songs, because as you well know, people have worked a great deal on this. So I think this is a fallout from your thesis. If my memory serves me well, while you were presenting, it's like you mentioned something like that.
Yes,
and if that is the case,
yeah, I mentioned that. Yes.
Please, you can always go back to the field, so that we'll be able to see what makes this work new, what makes it stand out, the contribution to knowledge.
Okay.
Please, you want to respond to that?
Right. Yeah, well noted.
We're taking several questions and then answering them.
Anyway, can you hear me?
We can hear you. Please go ahead.
Hello?
Yes, please go ahead.
Hello, we can hear you. Go ahead, please.
Yes. Okay. The first of all, the observation is well noted. Like I said earlier, it's just a minute part of my thesis, of my doctoral dissertation work, though it's not old, and that's not even my focus in the dissertation work. But that's just a minute work, a minute part. But then I will take the observation very well. Then I will work on it to make the paper more effective and viable. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Odekunle, Dr. Odekunle. So any other question, please? Do we still have question?
Yes.
Okay, please go ahead.
First of all, I would like to appreciate all presenters for doing a good work and wonderful presentation there. But I have the following to contribute to what we are discussing. First of all, I want to say to Dr. Adikogbe, I got confused at a point when you mentioned Oyo people, and at a point you mentioned Oyo town people. So there may be need for you to clarify, to do a conceptual clarification of the word, because in Oyo State, we have Oyo town people. In Oyo State as well, we have Oyo people. So there may be need for you to consider that. Mr. Odekunle, I would like to say that at a point during your presentation, you used a word I was not comfortable with. You said fork.
for sexual intercourse, please, for an academic paper, I would suggest that you desist from using that kind of a word so that your work will represent something that is official, something, professionalism. We should avoid the use of something like that while presenting papers of this nature. I have a question for a contribution for Dr. Okwante. Nice presentation because you are able to connect music with history, bringing out multidisciplinary approach to your research. But I have this to ask you. You mentioned you were presenting popular music, fine. You were not showing us the scoring or arrangement of those songs. And like somebody mentioned, I was expecting that you would play one or two songs for us to hear. Apart from that, you cited some wonderful scholars in our field that have done one thing or the other on Yoruba popular music, but I want to suggest that you look for works by Olusoji Stephen on popular music, more so Shakara, Apala, and Fuji music. I think this will enrich your work. And lastly, Mr. Sunday Ukwanwen, your position regarding music is that music can, if I get what you are, if I'm able to pick what you are trying to discuss, you are standing with those that believe that music can be, we can understand music without necessarily looking at musical history, musical culture, and other things that gave birth to a particular music in a particular society. Fine, you use and art music for your analysis, but at the same time, I want to believe that understanding what gave birth or what motivated the author to compose that will help people to understand the music better. That is just my own position regarding that. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Can we respond to that, please?
Please, let's just take this one last. Okay. We were still going on the questions and the comments, if you permit us, Mr. Chairman.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Once again, should I say I lean on the existing protocol of saluting the courage and the efforts of the presenters. But I'm like someone who has been shown a beautiful delicacy, but just shown, but cannot touch it to eat. And that's how I'm feeling now, especially with the last presenter who talked about Yoruba music. And I was expecting him to actually dwell on Yoruba music and Dudu drumming. But the example that he showed did not really go down well with me. I'm not a professional, so I don't know. But when you talk about Dudu drumming, I expect you to actually show us how Dudu drumming correlate with what you are saying about Iya in Ayobankole's composition. And then the image that you showed us of the Dudu set or the Dudu family, there was a kind of misrepresentation there in picture where you put the name Keri Keri on Iyalu Dudu and you put Iyalu Dudu's name on Keri Keri. If you look at the picture again, you will see the misrepresentation. And for all of the presenters My grounds with them is that they did not play any of the song for us. You are presenting a musical paper, but you cannot see musical example. Whatever you want to do, you should have just given us one or two samples and then explain your findings from the sample. Dr. Kwande, I still do not find a relationship between Yoruba popular music and the socialized club that you want us to know. I want to know the gap in knowledge that you want to bring out there, because you're just telling us things, mentioning names, but I don't know how your Yoruba type of popular music engage with the social clubs. And Dr. Adekogbe, again, also, I do not see the gap in knowledge or the gap that you want to fill with your presentation. Maybe it's because of time, I don't know. And then Mr. Odekunle, you gave us samples of the song, but you did not sing the song, which I did not really find to be too okay for this type of presentation. And lastly, Ms. Okwade talked about Aaron Shola, and then he said the song make people to win elections. And but when he showed us this, he was talking about 1976. I'm now wondering what election was carried out in 1976. Thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you. My name is Rob Ackrill from Nottingham Trent University. I've just got one question for each speaker, so I'll go through it in order. The first speaker, you started off by talking about identity and questions of who I am. But as your photographs show, and I think as a lot of us will understand, when we play music together. We're part of a community. We can't play music without listening to and responding to other people. So is there anything in your research that allows you to answer the question, who are we, as opposed to just who I am? To the second speaker, you used the word satire. The question I would ask is, the examples you gave, were they satire or were they misogyny? It may be me as a foreigner not understanding the culture, but I'll ask the question anyway. But I will also add, with due respect to everybody else in the room, I also think that in that context, if the song translates to what in English is the F word, then I do think it's appropriate that you use it, because that is conveying. The thing about that word is that it is a very powerful word. It triggers very visceral responses. So if that's the kind of word that's being used in these songs, I think it has to be acknowledged as part of the exploration of how these songs are treating women. To the third speaker, and I agree absolutely everything with our good colleague here was saying about it. My question kind of follows on. I'm trying to understand that relationship between elite clubs and popular music. Now, if the musicians sing a song about a club and the people in that club somehow get a political benefit from it, that's great. But it seemed to me more a paper about clubs than about music. So my question would be, if these people get the opportunity to play at these clubs, it sounds like it's almost patronizing. The wonderful people at the club are giving these poor musicians an opportunity. What, if anything, did the musicians get out more than just that opportunity? Were there any longer term external benefits for popular musicians to have played at the elite clubs? So kind of looking at it the other way around. And to our last speaker, I find what you're saying very interesting, but I'm also again asking the question, so what? Where is the novelty? Because if I'm thinking about Western art music, I can think about things like word painting. I can certainly think about the rhythm of the music following the rhythm of the language. So what I'm seeing is what you've described following the same set of general principles that equally apply to other forms of music. So I'm just wondering if it's simply an exercise in saying, well, these rules also apply here, or if there really is something novel that you're finding out about this Yoruba music in relation to the Yoruba language beyond and above the kind of fairly standard ideas about the formation of rhythms and the need for alignment in different forms of rhythm. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. So we have just one minute to respond to these questions. Just one minute. Thank you.
Okay, can I respond, please?
Please go ahead. 1 minute.
All right, so I will start with the last comment. All right, the novelty there is, if you see where I started from, about there's a conversation about how do we create identity. So within our own scholarship here in Africa, and then within the global scholarship that's talking about, should we care about the extra musical because we want before we enjoy music or before we analyze music? And I stated my position very clearly that in Africa, we care about the extra musical to understand the music itself. And that's why I was pointing out, and I think this question, answering the last final comment, we also answered the previous comment about I didn't show the relationship between the dundun and then the music I was talking about. Very quickly, I'm going to share my slide very quickly in 1 second. So yeah, if you can see my slide now, this is pointing to it. What I was explaining here is that Bankole did not just compose the music. That one of the things that makes the music very unique is that Bankole reflects on the use of musical elements, especially rhythm, in Dundu ensemble, in the accompaniment of Iya, and the Iya, the melodic line, the vocal line itself represents the dexterity of the Iya Ludundu. While it does that on the background or the timeline, what they call timeline, or the background rhythm of the Ishaju and Atele. That's what I was talking about. And so the again, the penultimate comment was talking about, I know you were talking about because of the Shawarede. If you look at the two of them, there's Shawarede on two of them. But I was using this because of the role the player that is beside is saying. So, and then Dr. Mrs. Dada, we are on the same position. So our position is the same, that we need the extra musical to understand the musical. That's the way we do it. Thank you.
Thank you. Second person, please.
Maybe I should. Well, out of my 1 minute, let me Thank you. Okay. I was going to play something like 15 seconds, but the thing is not coming out. So now, the issue is on the song. I didn't play the song. I was constrained by time. I have the song even in my PowerPoint just to play. I've reduced it into like 20 seconds, something like that to play. So I've noted what you said. I'm going to work on it. You talk about gap in knowledge. Now, what the idea of this paper is that we are building on existing scholarship. and we're saying that, okay, we can make sense out of connecting Yoruba popular music and social club together because of the connection that they have. And that's what I've mentioned in this work. But I'm still going to work on it, still use some other sources, even some interviews, because the work is still ongoing. So you were asking about the benefit of what does the musician benefit from singing for the wealthy class, for the people in the floor. Now, the first thing the musician benefits is fund, is money. Musicians need
It's
money
5 seconds more. 5 seconds more, please.
on their business. Then continuity and popularity. These musicians actually initially build their popularity based on playing for those clubs in the clubhouse. They build their popularity from there. Then continuity. The musicians are sustained by the sponsorship of the wealthy class. By spending for them, that's how they build their continuity. So, but I noticed I will work on it.
Thank you. Thank you so much. The other presenter, please.
Okay. The observations are well noted as per the issue of looking at satire in the songs. It's here in my presentation, but maybe because of the time, I was not able to particularly state that very well. And then as per the gap in knowledge, like the other speaker said, I am building on the existing scholarship on the images of women and all this. But beyond portraying women as sex symbols, I'm also participating in the further discussion or further debate on how these songs affect the representation of women in the larger sphere of existence. Maybe in the commercial, we all know what women are portrayed as in the commercial sector, advertisement most importantly. But then all the observations will be factored into the paper so that it's still an ongoing work, like I said the other time. So these discussions will also be factored into them. Then the issue of translation, I will also work more on that so that all the things can be factored into the paper. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. I think we are done with presenters. Do we still have? Oh, okay. So,
Adekogbe is not online.
Okay.
is he online?
No, he's not.
Okay. So our time is up. I want to. Well, I have a question, but because of the time, I won't be able to do that. But I want to appreciate everyone for these wonderful presentations, and we've seen how discuss how contemporary artists, old artists incorporate traditional element in Yoruba element into their music, and how this have really affected identity representation and creation in Yoruba traditional music. I want to appreciate everyone who had contributed, and I do know that this dialogue will continue from here, and the suggestion and the comment that have been raised will be incorporated into our work. So thank you, everyone. I really appreciate you. Thank you so much.